Hi everyone, it is me Sage and welcome to my first ever Sipping with Sage. In terms of drinks, I have a little mug of water because I haven't had any today and I thought I should get on top of that. But for this Sipping with Sage, I'd recommend getting yourself a beverage before we dive in to this fortnight's topic. Basically, Sipping with Sage is going to run fortnightly but in different sort of formats. So one fortnight it might be a video, another it might be a podcast, or it might be like a studio vlog, where there'll be like a small Sipping with Sage segment, but it'll be a more complex form of communication than just a blog post, which you'll normally get every so often, at least once a week. But with this first Sipping with Sage, I thought we'd talk about something that could potentially be quite relatable and a universal experience. Sorry, Bambi's playing with my camera because it's my first time having my camera out in the living room, so Bambi is a bit curious. But the relatable and universal topic I would be talking about this week is burnout and being burnt out. It's something that I've been going through for a while because I'm in the process of launching my business, Seiki Ceramics. It feels like I'm constantly working towards this deadline that is getting constantly pushed back, and I know that that's going to happen each time, but a lot of the time the reason for that is out of my control. A real life example would be I'm currently getting all of my pieces, like my ceramic pieces, fired at a studio, and at that studio they said it would take 7 to 10 days to fire my pieces, and they took 3 weeks, and they've been taking 3 weeks each time, which meant that I had to defer my launch date a fair bit because I wanted to create like a solid amount of backlog so that I'm not like super stressed and I don't have to be like, you know, making clay every single day because that's not super sustainable for my conditions. So that was my plan. But going from 7 to 10 days, which is basically a week and a bit, to 3 weeks, definitely did change my process because I had to make lots of ceramic pieces. Now I've gotten a little bit of a better system, which is I've pushed my launch date way back to September, and we're in August now, so that will give me a nice amount of backlog, also including their unpredictable timing with firing, and I'm saving for my own kiln, which is sort of exciting, and Patreon shall help fund that. So thank you so much for your support, because if I do get a kiln, or when I get a kiln, it will mean that I will have more frequent restocks for my store, but also if you see a piece on my Instagram that you like, you can sort of predict that in, like, at the latest, it will be in my store in 2 weeks time, because I'm probably going to be running like my kiln multiple times a week because of the amount of stuff that I create. So that is like where I'm at right now with the burnt out feeling. Yeah, so I've just basically been like go and ticking off like things on a checklist to make sure that I have everything ready for my launch, but they can be very time consuming and energy consuming, and I usually finish like my work day just lying back and feeling really drained. And I guess I'm also feeling drained because I haven't gotten that validation yet, which I think Patreon shall hopefully provide. Knowing that people like my art or like the content that I put out. I have so many like ideas in my head that I want to bring into fruition, but it can be a little bit difficult because I'm not like super practiced in this. I'm also like just generally a bit of an insecure person, so putting things out and being vulnerable isn't as easy as I'd like it to be. Like one of my like best performing illustrations was one of my first illustrations that I put up on my old Instagram, and I really liked it, but that's not really my style anymore, and I feel like my style has gotten worse, or like my art skills gotten worse. But I'm being reminded by friends of mine that the reason why that feels like the case is because my art style's gone a more like youthful, childish route, so it is a bit difficult to demonstrate like a ton of skill and art in that. Being burnt out, it's not very fun, but I wanted to suggest some ways to sort of overcome that, or like the ways that I'm currently trialing to get over being burnt out and being exhausted. The first way is to try and break out of like your normal regular art form. if you're working in a medium, if it's mainly painting or drawing, try something new like modeling or sculpting. It doesn't have to be ceramics. You can literally make, you know, air dry clay out of flour, water, and, or is it cornstarch and water? I can't remember. There's a recipe, I'll leave it down below for the one that I used. Come here, baby. Some other things that you can try are like textile based hobbies and stuff. So like crocheting or knitting or embroidery or felting or like making felt plushies. I've always wanted to do that, and I think I've done it in the past, but that is something that I'll explore a bit later. But I recently purchased some supplies to do rug tufting. I've been wanting to do it for years as well, and I thought ceramics went really well. How about I try rug tufting? Or I think what I'm doing is punch needling, but punch needling you can do it with embroidery or you can do it to make rugs. So rug tufting is like when you have like this tufting gun that you shoot loops into some fabric to create a rug, but I obviously don't really want to spend like $300 on a gun. Tufting gun, so I'm going to be doing the little punch needling and making some cute rugs. But point is, that is a new medium that I'm going to be experimenting with to sort of help me if I'm burnt out. So find something like that that you enjoy, even sewing your own clothes, and that is my second tip. That was a very long tip and I apologize. Hopefully editing will save me. But my second tip is find a like hobby or a passion of yours that's just for you, that you refuse or can't monetize. So for me, I have two now, which is sewing and roller skating. So for sewing, I do monetize a small part of it. I'm experimenting with adding like a sewn element into my ceramics or like my business. So I am like monetizing that skill, but I only make clothes for myself. It's okay to make like small exceptions for family members or if you want to make them something or if they commission you. Don't do free work. Hi baby. See? This is Bambi, by the way. He's my sweet boy, he's my little son. And the other thing that I have is roller skating, because that, you can't monetize that, and it's a skill for you. And it directly helps you, you know, it keeps you moving, and it's like self-care in a way, I'd say. It's moving around, it's dancing, it's vibing, it's having fun, and I've been really enjoying that. So those are my hobbies just for me. My third tip is trying to like step away from allowing your productivity to define your worth, or like letting your progress define your worth, letting anything define your worth, I think has helped with my burnout, because I felt like I have to keep chasing this goal, which is launching my business, but it keeps getting further and further away. So my progress is defining how I feel about myself. Daisy May has this thing where she likes to meow at the ceiling. If you know what that means, let me know. But I hope you guys enjoyed this ranty video. Thank you so much for joining my Patreon. It really means a lot that you want to support me in another way. You know, if you're not interested in buying my pieces but want to see the behind the scenes or want to see the content that I create, it really means a lot that you've decided to support me on Patreon. But thank you so much. If you have any like comments, queries, questions, let me know in the comments. If you have any like feedback, I'd love to hear it. Besides the one which is that stage and you look at the camera more, because that's literally impossible for me. I can't think while making eye contact. I see the camera lens like a bit of an eye. But yeah, thank you so much. I will see you guys in the next Patreon video. Bye.